Ground shook under 3 sets of boots, and Maya counted down from 4 in her head before the mountain answered her. She had wired the charges herself, one-handed, her other arm slick with plasma-scorched blood. When the volcano cracked open beneath the 3 hunters closing on her position, she didn't watch them fall. She watched the sky go the color of a furnace door swinging wide and thought, distantly, that this was probably the stupidest and best idea she'd had in 4 sleepless days. Years later, piecing the whole thing together from sealed transcripts and a recording she was never meant to hear, she'd understand what that hour looked like from the other side. A council chamber full of predators watching a slaughter nobody could explain. But on the mountain, she only understood heat and noise, and the fact that she was, against every reasonable expectation, still breathing. It began with a scholarship and a stubborn streak. Maya had come up from a fishing town on a gravity-heavy, oxygen-thin rock the rest of the galaxy filed under barely survivable, and she'd tested into the Galactic Enforcement Academy on raw nerve and a habit of requesting harder simulations when the easy ones bored her. Someone with more curiosity than sense decided to find out what a human cadet looked like against real teeth. The Carter's Preserve was 3,000 years old, sealed by treaty, kept running anyway by people who enjoyed watching apex predators earn their reputations. 10 of them volunteered to earn a new one against her. They dropped her into the volcanic basin with a knife, a sidearm, rations, nothing else, expecting a short chase and a clean finish. Harvok went first, 8 feet of armored muscle, who'd killed a sand dragon bare-handed as a boy. He picked up her trail inside a day, sneered at her beginner traps, radioed that it would be over by dusk. It was over 4 days later, when a search team found him strung by his own whipline, his weapons dismantled piece by piece like components in a lesson, the killing cut made with surgical patience by the exact blade the Academy had issued her. After that, the Preserve stopped sending hunters one at a time. A phantom named Plexus, a species so good at vanishing that whole militaries had banned them from service, went next, sure that stealth beat brute force. She found the pressure charge Maya had rigged inside her own borrowed shadow cloak. 3 more came together with air support, cornering her in an old mining works, and lost a man to a shaft collapse timed to his footsteps, a man to gas bled from a ruptured tank into a dead-end corridor, and their point man to 3 rounds through his optics after he thought he'd already won. The flyer peeled off to reassess, professional to the end, and took a rifle round through a gap the width of a hand while moving low and fast in bad light. That left 5, and the open plain, and the mountain, the moment she'd already lived once, the moment she'd carry into every debrief that came after. 3 hunters gone in the blast, the rest hunted through smoke for the better part of an hour before she let the last one, a Korathi named Telex, believe for a while that he'd gotten away. The rescue team arrived expecting a body and found her sitting inside a ring of 10 cleaned, ceremonially marked skulls, eating a ration bar like she had nowhere better to be. "You took your time," she said. 6 hours out here. So do I pass or what? That question followed her longer than the mountain did. The council that convened afterward didn't know what to do with the footage. Vrexthal, sector commander, 4 eyes blinking through something between disgust and disbelief, ran it twice before anyone spoke. Tribune Yalex's translucent skin had gone a color nobody in the room liked. It was Kral, tentacles coiled tight, who said what they were all thinking, that she hadn't just survived. She'd sent them home herself, dressed in the honors of 10 different cultures, done exactly right, like she understood grief better than she understood mercy. "This isn't tactics," someone said. "This is a species we don't understand." Vrexthal played the last file. Maya's voice, hoarse but level, recorded for whoever came looking. "You wanted to know what I am. Here's your answer. None of this was sport to me. Every one of them fought like it mattered, and I made sure they knew I saw that. But hear the rest of it plainly. I don't run out of ideas, and I don't stop. Send anyone else after me, and I'll return them in more pieces than they arrived in. Not because I enjoy it, because quitting isn't built into my people." Silence held the chamber. Then the oldest Korathi in the room, command rank etched into every line of him, said a species that talked like that belonged fighting beside him, not against him. He found her in the medical bay instead of a courtroom, a magistrate who didn't bother walking, an advocate assigned to protect rights nobody there actually meant to violate, and Tarvak, the old commander, who ran the operations too dangerous for people with better sense. He offered her a fast track into special operations. Full honesty this time, he said. No more hidden tests. Officially, the 10 hunters had died in a training accident. Families compensated. Her name would never touch the record. And if I say no, she asked, then none of this happened, and you finished the academy the ordinary way. She thought about Harvok's transmission cutting out mid-sentence, about Plexus vanishing into her own stolen cloak, about the mountain lighting up beneath her like something she'd woken on purpose. And she thought about the part that mattered more than any of it, that she'd meant every word in that recording, and that saying yes now would mean living inside that promise for the rest of her career. I'll take the offer, she said, but I want the skulls back. If I'm carrying this, I want to remember them properly. They earned that much. The magistrate called it irregular. Tarvak overruled her without pausing, said a soldier who remembers what tested her stays honest about her own limits, and told the room the matter was closed. Weeks later, deep into training built to push her exactly as hard as the mountain had, an instructor handed her a demolition charge shaped nothing like the crude thing she'd wired by hand in the dark. Smaller, cleaner, built for precision instead of desperation, and told her to set it against the clock. Her fingers found the same rhythm they'd found on volcanic rock, with a burned shoulder and no time left to be afraid. She looked up once, past the instructor, to where 10 skulls sat on a shelf she'd built herself, cleaned and marked, and facing the door like they were still waiting to see how this turned out. Then she went back to work and didn't look up again.